Coming up on Tacoma Report, we preview the upcoming City of Destiny Awards. 2 Tacoma police officers were presented with the Medal of Valor for their courageous rescue of a man trapped in a burning car. Starting on June 23rd, all youth 18 and younger can receive free lunches at many parks throughout Tacoma. Find out how you can help the Emergency Food Network provide resources for Pierce County residents this summer. These stories and more on Tacoma Report. Welcome to Tacoma Report. I'm Laura Proctor. 2 Tacoma police officers were awarded the Medal of Valor for saving the life of a man stuck behind the wheel of his car in late April. The driver, David Brooks, survived and attended the ceremony along with his family.
On April 29th, Tacoma officers Correa and Celis were the first to respond to a collision where a vehicle had burst into flames upon impact with a power pole. Both officers immediately acted and ran towards danger.
Yeah, we got a guy inside!
The officers found the vehicle's driver was unable to move or help himself. Officer Correa used a fire extinguisher to keep the flames at bay, while Officer Celis began trying to extricate the driver.
Pull!
With their extreme courage and bravery, without regard for their own safety, in the face of a life-threatening situation, the Tacoma Police Department is honored to award the Medal of Valor to these officers.
The Medal of Valor is the highest honor given by the Tacoma Police Department to reward acts of bravery and heroism beyond normal expectations. The City of Destiny Awards honors Tacoma's outstanding volunteers and service providers. This free event is open to the public and will be held on Thursday, June 26th at 7 p.m. in the Tacoma Dome Exhibition Hall. Guests are encouraged to arrive early for the community showcase that opens at 5 p.m. featuring the nominees' affiliated organizations.
Tacoma's a beautiful place, but it wouldn't be as magical without the citizens and the community members that we have here. So coming out and showing support goes a very long way to give appreciation back to those doing the work.
This year, awards will be presented in categories such as environmental sustainability, disability advocate, equity and empowerment, adult leadership, and more. For additional details, including a list of this year's winners, visit the city's website. Recently, Mayor Victoria Wooders and city staff joined community members for a historic walk along MLK Way, marking the launch of the Hilltop Plaques Project. The first phase of this initiative honors 9 individuals who made significant contributions to the Hilltop community, including Harold Moss, Tacoma's first Black mayor. The currently installed pavers spanned from South 9th Street to Ernest S. Brazil and is funded by the Links to Opportunities project. Stay tuned for more updates as new pavers and plaques are set to be installed and unveiled in the coming months. The city's Arts and Cultural Vitality Division is seeking applications for the 2025-2027 Tacoma Poet Laureate. Applicants must reside in Pierce County, be 18 or older, and actively engage in literary arts. The selected poet will promote poetry through readings, workshops, and special projects, culminating in the 2027 Laureate announcement. Interested individuals can apply until June 27th at tacoma.gov/artsops. Don't miss this opportunity to engage in Tacoma's cultural landscape. Starting on June 23rd, all youth are invited to get free meals and participate in activities at parks throughout Tacoma. The summer meal program provides free lunch to all youth aged 18 and younger, Monday through Friday. In addition, there will be games, crafts, and other activities led by staff. Activities begin at 10 a.m. and lunch is served from 12:30 through 1:30. For a list of all participating parks locations, visit parkstacoma.gov/activities-and-sports/summer meals. Food insecurity is on the rise throughout Pierce County. After the break, Emergency Food Network Deputy Director Lianna Olds joins us in the studio to discuss how important it is to keep food pantries stocked during the summer months. See you on the other side. Welcome back to Tacoma Report. I'm Laura Proctor. Joining us today is Emergency Food Network Deputy Director Lianna Olds. Lianna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So good to have you with us. So Lianna, we want to talk a little bit about what you do, about what your organization does. The first question is a little daunting, but can you share with our viewers a little bit of an overview about the federal funding cuts?
Absolutely. So recently, a bill was announced that was approved by the House, and it is going to cover a gamut of human services. Some of the ones we're most concerned with is it includes a massive cut to the SNAP program, about $3.1 billion. Sorry, I say million because sometimes it's hard for me to even wrap my head around that much money.
Yes.
But it is going to dramatically affect the way that SNAP is administered across all of the states. Here in Washington, we actually share the administrative costs with the federal government. Under the new bill, the federal government only really wants to pay for the food, and it puts all of the costs of the administration back on the state of Washington. Washington doesn't actually have enough funds to cover that. Right. So in order for us to pay for both the administrative costs and the food, there'll be no choice but to make cuts. So right now, we pay about $6 per person gets out in SNAP benefits. It doesn't seem like that much money, but it actually turns out to be reducing hunger by 30% for those households. Okay. We have no idea what that means, what that's going to look like, but we do know that it's going to then fall on food banks in order to cover that gap.
Right.
So even that is one piece.
Right.
There's a whole gamut of federal food programs that are also being cut. An example is this community supplemental food program, which provides senior meal food boxes. Our organization alone, that's 300 seniors who get a box with a week's worth of food that they can put in the pantry and know that they have something to eat.
Right.
One of the most at-risk group of people. That is already, we know, gone. And there is nothing that's right now in place to take care of it, although there is a proposal that it will be replaced with something called a MAHA box, which is a Make America Healthy box created by the federal government. We've not seen the pilot of what that box looks like, who will qualify, what it's made up on, but we do know that in the past, boxes similar to this don't have the capacity to take into account what are people used to eating, what is culturally relevant, what is necessarily the healthiest.
Right.
So there are infrastructures that are in place that have taken years for us to create as a food system, and those are just being swept away. Right. So it's so many other things that you could go into, including what's going on with Medicaid and Medicare, and all of there's other programs for farmers like LSPA. But the whole and arch of it is we're looking at a complete collapsing of the modern food system, the board system, and how that is going to then fall onto food banks and food pantries to pick up. We do not see how.
Oh my goodness. And that is so disappointing to hear with all of with the level of food insecurities that we're currently dealing with, then to have to deal with the cuts that are going to further affect the ability to take care of our most vulnerable families. And you touched on how these cuts are going to impact individuals and families. So can you share with the viewers how EFN is resourcing amidst these cuts?
Well, that is still something we are trying to figure out ourselves, to be honest. Yeah. So when we're looking at what it means to cut back on SNAP, even if you're looking at that alone, we have 75 plus food pantry partners at EFN, and they ran the gamut in size from tiny little in the back of the church serving one type of community place to the big guys who are trying to get this community fed.
Right.
All of those places, when SNAP is cut, when there's less, that there's more, they see a flood of people hitting into the pantry already. So this is while things are good.
Right.
This is with national supports. We've seen a 17% increase in this year over last year. This is us still seeing like we're trying to feed 3.1. We're projecting 3.1 million people being fed this year. That's with support.
Oh my goodness.
So when we talk about what it is that we're going to do in the future, we're going to be looking around to each other, with our community, with our cities, state, federal government, and we're going to say, what do you have in place to help prop up people?
Right.
Because we're once again being asked to do more with less. Without doing this, without a CSFP program, a TFAP program, an LFPA program, all of those are programs that are being cut. So what it looks like for us to continue, well, we're going to prioritize continuing to buy food. We're going to prioritize continuing to try to repack as much as we can so that we can continue to make 2 meals for the cost of one. We're going to lean more heavily on volunteers. We're going to lean more heavily on food drives. We're going to lean more heavily on community.
Right.
And we already know, as hard as we lean, we are not built to take the place of SNAP.
Yeah.
We're not built to take the place of federal support. Right. So we're facing a situation with just a lot of hungry people.
Yes.
And so how do we mitigate it? Right now, our organization is focusing on trying to get 20 million pounds of food this year.
Okay.
That is our best attempt to stem the flow of people that we are seeing come to the food bank just in this year.
Right.
We came up with that goal long before we knew that the supports were about to get a lot weaker.
Yeah.
So we also have our questions about the future to be honest with you.
Yes.
And what we lean on optimistic is the more we tell people, help us get to this 20 million, we are finding partners and we are finding people who are passionate about it.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to be leaning on.
Can you tell our viewers how they can advocate and speak up? What things that should they do? For example, reaching out to their representatives, getting advocacy tips and funding updates. What things can our viewers do to help?
Yeah. It is considered in the Senate right now.
Okay.
So there's still time for people to reach out to their representatives and try to get them to not just say food is important,
right,
but they have to actively push and fight for the importance of food. Because what we're up against right now is a determination that people will just get taken care of.
Right. That is
so, So we need to be like in your face pushing for
right.
Also, at this point, it's a lot, fortunately, we live in a community where there is a lot of good support for food, but we know that when things aren't in people's faces anymore, something is always in their place. So continue to pay attention.
Right.
Read about what's happening. Listen about what's happening. Make a priority of trying to figure out what are we, who else is struggling? If I see these prices at the grocery stores making adjustment, think about what my neighbor must be going through.
Right.
Participate in food drives. Host one.
Yes.
If you've never done one before, it's one of the easiest things in the world. Even will happily show you how.
Right.
But but if you've never, that's how we're going to get through on that.
Right.
Is going to be people linking together, leaning on each other, and demanding that we stand for one another. So
right. And then can you touch a little bit on the efoodnet.org/news, how people can go and get updates on what's going on?
So we regularly are trying to provide as many advocacy updates as we can.
Gotcha.
If you go to our website, you can join our mailing list, and we will happily tell you everything we know. We're trying to get out to the community. So as soon as possible, and who you can talk to.
Gotcha.
So yes, go ahead and look up your representative.
Perfect.
Give some and shoot them a line. They read their emails.
Okay. And that's efoodnet.org/news.
Absolutely.
Gotcha. And then our final question. So would you share with our viewers, let's talk a little bit about summer hunger. And we touched a little bit on volunteering, but how can they actively volunteer, donate, host a food and fun drive? What are some of the ways that they can pursue accomplishing those goals?
So we just actually finished May, which was Hunger Awareness Month.
Okay.
And the reason we do that in May is because that is right before the kids are about to get out of school.
Yes.
And we see every year a flood of families over the summer who, now that they don't have free and reduced lunch and breakfast, are hungry and need something to eat. So we're anticipating around 70,000 students who currently use those programs
Yes.
who are going to need some help.
Right.
So we do meal boxes and bags that we work with the school district to get out. And we constantly need help, both to build these things, but also to repack, to do a food drive, to make sure that there's things on the shelf. So summer is a great time for people to
Yes.
bring families to our facility, our warehouse in Lakewood, and we do repacks every weekend. We would happily have people to host them, to do a repack day. It's very fun. And we also, though, encourage people to just host a food drive. If you've got anything from a book club to a business that you frequent regularly, anywhere is a great place for people to come and make donations of food and to help people to get through the summer. So our volunteer coordinators at EFN can walk you through all of the process. We have bins, we've got lists, we've got all kinds of stuff to help you out.
Right.
You just can't go on our website and look us up, and we will happily help you set up your own food drive.
Exactly. Well, you know, again, we appreciate everything that you are all doing. And during this tough time, it's going to take a community to make this work and make it a success. And thank you again for being on the show. And hopefully our viewers will take that advice and do what we can all do all our part in helping reduce this food insecurity with what's coming ahead of us. So thank you so much. I appreciate you being on the show, and we're looking forward to having you back for an update.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Lianna. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Tacoma Report. For more information on the latest happenings in Tacoma, visit tacoma.gov. I'm Laura Proctor. Stay tuned and stay connected.